Yes, I can hear you well.
Great, great. So the topic of the day is Colorado-specific DUI penalties. And I'll let you take it away.
Okay. Well, okay, so in Colorado, you can be charged with either a DUI, which is driving under the influence, or DWAI, which is driving while ability impaired. We call it a DWAI. DWAI is a little bit less than a DUI. First of all, the DMV ramifications of a DWAI is you get, you're looking at 8 points. A DUI, you're looking at 12 points. With a DWAI, the range of punishment, you can get up to 180 days jail. You can get up to 48 hours of community service. You can get up to a $500 fine. However, I would expect, unless there was an exacerbating circumstance, that you should be looking at 24 hours of community service. You should be looking at no jail with the first offense. And usually they waive a fine because the fines and costs add up themselves to about $1,300 plus a little bit more. And that covers probation and court costs. And then you got to pay for alcohol classes as well. So that's a DWAI. A DUI is a 12-point offense. You're looking at a fine up to $1,000. You can get up to a year in jail, and you can get up to 96 hours of community service. If there aren't any of the exacerbating circumstances, which I'll talk about in a second, then you're probably looking at the minimums again, because for a first offense, they usually try to, it's enough what they're going to require you. The mandatory minimum is enough. So normally it's a 12 points go against your record, so that leads to its own separate license suspension, which we can talk about either in this subject or another one. You're likely looking at no jail at all on a first offense of a DUI. And you're looking at 48 hours of community service as a standard. The fines and costs are usually about the same, $1,300 to $1,400. The exacerbating circumstances that you have to watch out for in each of these, it can be in a DWAI or a DUI, is, was there an accident? If there was an accident, was it how many cars were involved? Was it a single car or multiple cars? Was someone else hurt in the accident? If someone's hurt seriously, then that's a felony charge if they have what's called a serious bodily injury. If there's no injury, or the injury is only to the driver of the person with the DUI, then some judges look at that and you have to worry about jail with that. And a good lawyer is supposed to help you with that. Another thing you look for is a high blood alcohol concentration, high BAC. Anything over 0.2 in Colorado is going to carry mandatory minimum 10 days in jail. That 10 days in any jail, in any first offense, can be served with an ankle monitor. It's important to remember that, because sometimes people think about the jail and they read that online and they get really scared. However, even if you're in one of those exacerbating circumstances with an accident without a serious injury or with a BAC over 0.2, I would be expecting I could try and get them into an ankle monitor, which isn't really what you want, but it's better than going to jail. So those are the things to consider. Now, running down the list, if you have a second conviction, then you have some concerns. If it's a second inside of 5 years, then there's a mandatory minimum 10 days in jail. This occurs whether you get a DWAI or a DUI on a second conviction. You're looking at 10 days. And that must be served in county jail. Cannot be served with an ankle monitor. Can't be served through any other way. It's got to be in jail, and it's got to be consecutive. And you don't get good time credit. Normally, you get off about a third, at least, to a half of the time you do in jail. With this, you have to serve all 10 days in jail. So this is a law that came out about 3 years ago in Colorado, and it's pretty harsh. So a second offense, DUI, DWI, you're looking at a mandatory minimum jail inside of 5. Outside of 5, then you may be able to get that ankle monitor again, and I'd be arguing for that. It would depend on how far outside of 5 you are and those other exacerbating circumstances which I discussed, which are accident or high BAC. Now, when you have more than 2, say a third on a third offense, doesn't matter in a lifetime. It doesn't matter how long it's been. You must do 60 days in county jail, no good time credit, so that's 60 days. But most judges sentence more than 60 days for a third offense. And if you live in Colorado, you may know that that having a third offense, 3 convictions and a fourth offense, then they can charge that now as a felony offense in the state of Colorado with serious felony repercussions. Something you might also want to know and understand is that these prior convictions will count whether they're in the state of Colorado or any other state. they're going to consider them to be priors no matter where they are. So if you get that, if you have a prior in another state, you get another one in Colorado, that's going to be considered a second or more. And so that's something to be aware of as well. That's pretty much a quick rundown of the sentencing structure that we now have here. I can tell you that with each charge, you're going to get either a DUI or DWAI. You're looking at you're looking at a probationary sentence. Even if there's a jail sentence imposed, they're still going to impose probation. You can't just get jail and no probation in Colorado anymore. So you're going to get, unless it's a first offense, and who would choose that? But the probationary terms include community service, and again, as I described, DWI is 24, DUI is 48. That's the minimums. You're going to get probation at least for a year. If it's a lower BAC in a first offense, many judges will consider an early termination if your lawyer asks for it and does it at the right time. You can ask for that and usually get that. In addition to that, you're looking at fines and costs. Judges in Colorado almost always also order you to do what's called a victim impact panel sponsored by Mothers Against Drunk Drivers, and it's actually a pretty easy deal. It's a 1-hour seminar. You go in there and somebody who's either injured someone in a DUI accident or lost someone in one will talk about that. And the idea is to let people understand the impact that a DUI could have on families. And it's pretty interesting. It's not a bad thing to do. And they give you a certificate of completing that. So those are the basic requirements for all of those. DMV has its own separate list of things that are going to be required with losing your license. And I can address that in another subject, or I can do it in this one if you'd like me to.
Let's say that for another subject, but this is fantastic. I think you've given people a lot of great information to chew on. So that'll be it for today, and I look forward to talking to you soon.
All right, talk to you soon.
Okay, have a good day. Take care.